Well, welcome everybody. We are super excited. This is the 9th event of the Christ Leadership Series. We only have one more.
No, we're not excited because it's almost over. We're excited that they're here.
Well, we are also excited for what's yet to come because we've been planning ahead, which we will share with you later today. But thank you for being here. This is the 9th event of the Christ Leadership Series offered by the Institute for Next Level Leadership. It's a privilege, an honor to have your presence with you today, to have you chosen to be with us for this next hour and a half. We only have one more event left. As I said, the Christ Leadership Series will end next week, but there is a lot more coming up. And we are excited to share that with you today after the presentation. I am Inely, Cesna, the CEO and founder of the Institute for Next Level Leadership. And I think I mentioned this here in many different ways, but I will repeat today. Our dream for the Institute is to empower leaders worldwide. We want to empower leaders worldwide who are willing to lead from a place of inner empowerment, a place of love, capable of promoting the greater good within themselves and out in the world.
And I'd like to just make a comment about that because there's a reason that Inely chose dream. You know, I mean, when Martin Luther King attracted hundreds of thousands of people to Washington, D.C., he didn't start with, I have a plan. He started with, I have a dream. But Walt Disney said that, you know, if you can imagine it, you can do it. He didn't say if you can plan it, you can do it. When they wrote the song, "A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes," they didn't write "A plan is a wish your heart makes." And there's a very good reason. It's a carefully chosen word because dreams actually can come true. And they manifest themselves in their own way. Plans, I've been planning for businesses for 35 years. And plans change. Because the one thing you know when you have a plan and it's finished, you know it's wrong. And so you continually adjust as you go. Your dreams, God, they could live forever. I always dream. I told Inely I loved her before I ever met her. Because she was part of my dream. So that being said, I feel much better. I am Mike Murphy, the co-founder of the Next Level Institute. And together we are I and Am. I am, which represents our initials. Inely
And Mike.
And Mike. I am.
And there we are.
And there we are. And thanks, John, for finding our advertisement in Thailand. We're waiting. We should have put our phone number on there.
All right, so we'll start today with our brief overview of the past events. Our first success tool was neutral observation in the moment. This is all about keeping neutrality to observation of the present moment without being too attached to the past or to the future. In a crisis, the past represents a normality that may no longer exist. And the future is highly unknown. So this can cause us to feel lost, to feel hopeless, to feel victimized by the circumstances of the outside world, which awakens our instincts. The instincts seek our protection, our security, our survival in the outside world. The instincts relates to life from outside in, looking at the outside world as the source of who we are, how we fit in, how we survive in it, and how we protect ourselves from it. The instinct can also blame the outside world for our upsets and nest feelings of pride and anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, and so on. However, when we pause, breathe, and observe the present moment neutrally, we awaken our intuition and we realize that with each moment, with Each here and now, we are participating in the creation of the future yet to come. So the intuition sees life from inside out, looking inside of ourselves at our innate virtues as the source of who we are and what we have to manifest in this world. The intuition uses creativity and inventiveness to find innovative solutions for what lies ahead. And in doing so, the intuition masks feelings of willingness, acceptance, reason, joy, peace, enlightenment, and so on. The instinct and the intuition, as you all know by now, are very powerful inner forces, and they can often pull us to opposite sides, creating a tug of war within us. And neutral observation in the now, in the moment, is the tool that helps us to identify this inner tug of war so that we can align it, stabilize it towards our success and the greater good. Next, we talked about tiny actions and baby steps. The way we stabilize our inner tug of war is through tiny actions, little by little, step by step, creating results that are sustainable over time. And then when change comes, as we have seen during this pandemic, it disrupts our sense of normalcy, creates polarization, it destroys neutrality, and it calls us into the process of adaptation. In order to cooperate with the process of adaptation, there are two important keys for us to apply. One is to keep in mind what we are adapting to. Are we adapting to the world, or is the world adapting to us? And two is to be aware of what the environment, what the world is mirroring back to us as reflections of our own perceptions. These two keys help us leverage change as catalysts for our growth and for the greater good. The process of adaptation to change will require trust. In event 4, we talked about trust and what trust is all about. We talked about the difference between risk assessment and trust. Risk assessment being the reliance we put on external components like people, circumstances, and things outside of us. And trust being the reliance we put on a bigger and better quality inside of us, which results in a dramatic inner shift from I can't to I think I can to I know I can. So this kind of inner trust, this inner visceral knowing of I can, does require some sacrifice. Through sacrifice, we know how and when to step aside and let go of what we think it should be to open space for what is meant to be. Through sacrifice, we are also open and willing to receive what's meant to be as our greatest and highest good. Sacrifice creates the pathway to which trust can come through and fill in the gaps. And the result is a profound sense of grace and a palpable knowing of a quality inside us that is far greater and better than ourselves. It's a quality of something being done through us. The collateral benefit of trust and sacrifice is inner stabilization. Stabilization is the end of the inner tug of war, is the cessation of againstness inside of us, the coming together of what was once opposing forces in alignment, one strengthening and complementing the other. Stabilization is an act of service to ourselves because when we are stabilized inside, we know our contribution to the whole and we are fulfilled in it. But as we serve ourselves, we become more equipped to also serve others. And this results in collaboration. Now, through collaboration, we are capable of achieving further and greater things and ensure that stability does not become a liability by encouraging continuous improvement. Collaboration requires harmony. Harmony between our personal vision and values with that of the collective group. And harmony requires the inclusion of diverse contributions from each individual in service to the greater good. So, in other words, collaboration is the consciousness of service in action, which starts by serving ourselves through stabilization and then serving others. Now, the danger in collaboration is to over-identify with the collective group. We can over-identify with the collective group and develop a segregated enclave, which leads to intoxication of power. In our mastermind programs, we call this phenomenon leadership as an antidote to this very real danger. We presented last week the success tool of simplicity. This is the kind of simplicity that has been filtered through experience and time and tested by life in order to become pure, clear, unpretentious, humble, uncomplicated, authentic, straightforward, efficient, and very down to earth. This is about the simplicity of thoughts, the simplicity of actions, and the simplicity of words. In the end of the day, it's about efficiency at all levels, using resources to the fullest and waste nothing. This level of simplicity is the foundation for true integration. And integration is the success tool for today. It comes from the Latin word integrare, which means the process of creating a coherent whole of many parts. Integration is the ability to combine, sympathize, and reconcile the seemingly opposing forces within us through the tools we have seen here and many others which you have discovered along the way and have beautifully shared in our conversations here every week. In our leadership programs, we refer to integration as the leadership dance. We refer to it as a dance. And the reason we call it a dance is because it's always in motion. Integration, like a dance, is not a static concept. It's always moving in a form of vortex, pulling us from inside out through our intuition or from outside in through our instinct. That vortex is the life force within us. It is the source of our motivation and enthusiasm, or the lack of it. But before we talk further about integration, we would like to show you a brief video. I love this video. I think to us, it represents the most basic form of integration upon which life itself is created. So here we go. So the reason I love the idea of fertilization as an example of integration is because of many reasons. One, because it literally shows the dance. It shows how important movements are for integration to actually happen. Two, because fertilization demonstrates how two seemingly opposing components are actually complementary and attractive to each other as the source and seed of life. And three, because fertilization as the seed of physical life is just like integration as the seed of the leader's life. Through integration, the leader from within is born into the outside world. So, integration means the coming together of all parts inside of us as a whole, in completion, in oneness. It's the embrace of our divinity and our humanness, our transcendence and our duality, our soul and our ego. And as we say in our leadership programs, it's the intersection of our vertical dimension of consciousness with our horizontal dimension of consciousness. In other words, integration is the inner marriage where our ego falls madly in love with our soul. This falling in love between our ego and our soul is what true healing is all about. And the collateral benefit of this kind of healing is renewal and rebirth.
This is why many of you have heard me say, someone once told me, Miguelito, yo quiero que su mente enamore de su corazón. Little Michael, my wish for you is that your mind falls in love with your heart. This is exactly the same thing that Inely is so beautifully placed within this portion. And because when I also call it, the longest journey over the shortest distance. There's only about 18 inches between the two. But I didn't even start this journey. Mind to the heart between the two. It took me 60 some odd years just to start the journey. But this is what makes it possible to see order in chaos, and clarity and ambiguity, and equality and diversity, and elegance and simplicity, and so many other things.
So, biblically speaking, integration is represented through the metaphor of the virgin birth. For us, in our leadership programs, integration is the renewal and the rebirth of the leader within. We have witnessed integration and the amazing energetic shift towards healing, renewal, and rebirth in ourselves, individually, and in our marriage, in our family, in our clients, and in the participants of our leadership programs. In the modern world, and I'm going to share again my screen with you here. In the modern world, one beautiful example that we have seen is, this one you've already seen, is the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. As you may know, the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, was established by the new South African government in 1995 to help reconcile its people by uncovering the truth about human rights violations during the apartheid. And hear this, their intention was to simply uncover the truth. They were not there to point the finger to anyone. They just wanted to uncover the truth. So both victims and perpetrators were heard with the goal of achieving restorative justice rather than prosecuting individuals for past crimes. It has generally been thought of as successful, and it has also inspired the same kind of healing efforts in other countries, like the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Canada, which was formed in 2007 to heal, reconcile, and renew the relationship with their Indigenous people based on partnership, respect, cooperation, and recognition of rights. As leaders, I think we think that we are all just beginning to awaken into the immense benefits that integration can bring to us, both personally inside of us and practically in our lives outside of us and in the outside world. The TRC in South Africa and in Canada are interesting experiments of how integration can support the creation of a world of harmony and diversity. There is still so much we can learn about integration and how to apply it into the many controversial issues that we see in the world today. However, before we can bring integration to the outside world, we must experiment with it inside ourselves, in our inner world, and in our world with our families and those that are close to us. The more we become integrated leaders from within, the more our presence, our actions, our words, and our decisions will reflect integration into the outside world. So today we will share with you one of my very, very, very favorite inspirational pieces, representing integration as the falling in love of opposites, the falling in love of the soul and the ego. To me, the falling in love of opposites is our destiny, individually and collectively. It is a tale as old as time. It happens with little changes, feeling a little scared and unprepared. It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet and strange to find out when we can change, to find out when we were wrong. But in the end, the love is as true as it can be, and we are better off for it. So here's the theme song for The Beauty and the Beast. Enjoy the poetry and the lyric of this song. And here we go.
Tale as old as time, true as it can be. Barely even friends when somebody begs unexpectedly. Just a little change, small to say the least, both a little scared, neither one prepared. Beauty and the Beast. Ever just the same, ever a surprise. before, ever just as sure as the sun will rise. As old as time, as old as song, bittersweet and strange, finding can change, learning you were wrong. Certain as the sun, rising in the east, tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, beauty and the beast. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, beauty and the beast.
Okay, so now we are going to our 2-minute practical exercise. Oops. I had a few versions of it, as you can see, but here is our practical exercise. And maybe you can meditate, contemplate, reflect, or journal. Here are 2 inquiries if you'd like to use them for inspiration. That's great. You don't have to, but the inquiries are: have you ever experienced integration? So, have you ever experienced integration, and what does it mean to you to live integration? So, thank you for being here. We love you. We'll see you next Tuesday. I hope